clearly, as we emerge from the COVID-19 crisis, some of our communities are rebuilding and realigning. And if anything, throughout this pandemic, it's taught us to not only think outside the box, but also about collaboration. To join, talk a little bit more, let's bring in Dustin McClellan. He's the founder and CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. Dustin, great to have you on with us again.
Hi, Ronnie. So great to be back with you and Tyler. Look forward to our discussion today.
I was talking about Pontiac over the weekend with someone and explaining about your foundation and the great work that you are attempting and hoping to be able to do to really lift the city of Pontiac. For those not familiar, tell us more about your foundation.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yes, the Pontiac Community Foundation was founded in 2018 with a mission to engage philanthropy, leadership, and collaboration to tackle Pontiac's most pressing issues. We're really creating a new model for philanthropy in Pontiac, particularly as a community foundation, because not only are we seen in the community as an entity that awards grants and supports financially, but we're also filling a critical civic leadership gap in the community. And so we know that Pontiac has had many challenges throughout the years, many of them due to capacity, just limited resources and leadership ability. And so we oftentimes find ourselves being looked to in the community as someone that can take the lead, take the charge, fill in those gaps that civically or other entities can't fill. And we're just so grateful that we're able to provide that leadership to our community.
So, Dustin, you are the founder and CEO. What made you want to tackle this?
That's a great question. I was born and raised in the city of Pontiac and, experienced many of the challenges that everyday residents face now. When I was a child, I grew up in a single parent home, experienced all the issues of poverty and the challenges that are in a city like Pontiac. And at 7 years old, a local nonprofit, the Kids Club, was heavily influential in my life, provided me with a mentor, provided after school programming and weekend programming. And I later became director of that very entity, the Power Company Kids Club, for 8 years. It was during that time.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, it was during that time working very intimately with children and families that I saw these generational systemic issues that we faced in Pontiac for many years. And so I, with a team of others, said, hey, let's find out what can be the vehicle of change in the city of Pontiac. And we landed on the community foundation model.
And since you've started, how has it been going? Because just as you're getting up, you're getting your feet wet, you're getting some traction, the pandemic hits.
Yeah, what a moment, right? For us, we really felt like that was our coming of age moment. And we saw, as tragic as it was, the pandemic as an opportunity. And so that's when we began to work collaboratively with other nonprofits, other organizations, our municipality, Oakland County government, to say, how are we going to meet the needs of residents and businesses and community leaders during the midst of the pandemic. And so we started the My COVID Response entity with other partners. We started the Center for Pontiac Entrepreneurship to provide critical capital and education relief to entities. We enacted so many things during the pandemic that we're continuing today, and others now, such as our task force on racial health and equities. That was something that we started last year, pulling together local electeds and other leaders saying, hey, we know there are racial challenges that we're dealing with. We know there are now health challenges we're dealing with. We know that there's a lot of talk out there. But let's come together and see what those challenges really are in Pontiac and what are some solutions that we together can work on. So, for many, I know that it was a deeply challenging time, but for us, we really sought to seize the opportunity so that we can continue making a difference in Pontiac.
Dustin McClellan with us here on the MegaCast. He's the founder, CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. And I think one of the really big good things, a silver lining to come out of the crisis, is it really did force people to think outside the box. Before, people would say, we can't do that. We've never done that. There's no way that could happen. And because of COVID-19, we've all had to think and act differently. And some of those things I think are going to stay with us post pandemic. But when we're talking about some of these programs, I know there's the rental assistance program. Is that going to stay in place? Where do things stand with that right now?
Yeah, Ronnie, I don't think that we have really seen the totality of the economic effects on the community yet. I think some of us are feeling like today's a new day. We've got some new regulations in terms of masks. We've had, summer seems to be here all of a sudden, but these effects are going to continue for quite some time, especially as we see moratoriums lifted on evictions, as we see different stipulations come in place in terms of unemployment assistance. And so it's going to be imperative that rental assistance, utility assistance, small business assistance, even workforce development programs. Because I was just talking with one of our restaurant owners this weekend, and he says business is booming, but we just can't find people that want to work in our establishment. So we've got a lot of work to do to now work on the backside of the pandemic and to meet the needs, particularly in our business community, and particularly in urban communities like Pontiac.
So with that, Dustin, because you wonder too, you understand why some employees are saying, I'm not going to work because I would make the same or less if I went to work
Yes,
40 hours a week. So it seems like it is highlighting some of these lower wage jobs that are out there, but there are some great jobs that are out there as well. It's a matter of trying to get some of the people trained. And we know a lot of times there are hurdles with trying to get people that maybe had addictions or felonies. Is that part of some of the solutions you're trying to even talk about at this point? Like, how do we bridge these gaps that, put the businesses in this situation, but also put some of our residents in the position where they are in life?
absolutely. For people that have not historically been structurally employed, you take a year or a year and a half off of any any workforce, now you're really behind the eight ball. And so there are several groups in Pontiac that are really working to meet this need, and we're excited to be working with them. Groups like the Dream Center. That is working to train and provide skills development for those that have not been structurally employed, even providing wraparound services like transportation and childcare that are barriers to employment. Groups like the Talent Development Coalition that's working particularly in the skilled trades and in construction to help young folks get the adequate training they need, hands-on skills development, partner with construction companies that are looking for those types of workers. And to your point earlier, people are being innovative and creative and trying to work diligently to not only provide programming and workforce development, but also meet the needs of businesses and the community.
Yeah, transportation is so key, especially in Oakland County, because a lot of places the bus doesn't go where it needs to go. And if you don't have a car, look how expensive it is to get a car, or if you're sharing a car in a family. So, one of the good things, we're talking about these issues, and hopefully some of the companies are realizing it and trying to work with the employees to get them there and get them there on time. We're talking with Dustin
Absolutely.
McClellan. He's the founder and CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. One of the other things that your organization has going on, I think, is awesome and great for our entire community is the Small Business Micro Grant Program. This is it really is a way to kind of shift and get more people involved in being small business owners.
Absolutely. This is the first of two rounds of granting we're going to be doing this year for small businesses in Pontiac. And we've made it specific to either small businesses that are headquartered in Pontiac or perhaps residents in Pontiac that have small businesses elsewhere. And in just 7 days, we had 82 applicants was a report I got for these small business grants that we're still dubbing this first round as COVID relief. And it is just amazing, not only the need that our small businesses are still facing, but the opportunity we really see, particularly now that we're gathering all of this rich data, creating these relationships, and now we can circle back with these entrepreneurs and say, hey, how else can we support you? How else can we help get the word out on what you're doing? How else we can make sure the community and others at large, even outside of Pontiac, are aware of these incredible businesses that are working diligently, working very hard, trying to stay afloat. And hopefully now that we're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel, we'll continue to be vibrant businesses in our community.
So with that, Dustin, what types of small businesses are you hoping to attract to the city of Pontiac long term?
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely still need many retail outlets in Pontiac. Folks in the community will tell you that they do have to go elsewhere to do their basic shopping. And so we feel that downtown is prime for that. And there are other corridors in Pontiac that are prime for that. Certainly, restaurants, although there are challenges right now, we still feel like we definitely need to support and sustain the establishments we do have and invite other restaurants to the area. And I'll just say this because it's always a hot topic in Pontiac. Pontiac's ready and deeply desires a grocery store. And we don't have a quality, affordable grocery store within the city limits. And so that's something we're working on behind the scenes, having courageous conversations about, and hopefully we'll move the needle on that as well.
That's so important. We see that in so many urban areas. The city of Detroit went through that, and they're still struggling trying to get some of those grocery stores in the neighborhood areas,
It's true.
not just that downtown area. We're talking with Dustin McClellan here on the MegaCast. He's the founder CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. And with that, I feel like Pontiac had some momentum going in that downtown area. And
Yes.
then it's like it kind of halted. Now we're starting to see more empty storefronts in the downtown area. But I think one of the good things is the Phoenix Center deal. There's at least some deal. I don't know what the future of the Phoenix Center is going to look like, but at least it's out of a legal dispute.
Yeah, at this point, there is an agreement that has been finalized with the new owners of the adjacent towers to the Phoenix Center. And they had some perpetual rights to the Phoenix Center that are hopefully going to allow for some new development, some urban renewal. I know that there's leasing available even in those two towers that are joining the Phoenix Center. And so our hope that is that this black eye is moving from Pontiac. There are ongoing discussions with the county, with the city, with MDOT about reorienting the Woodward Loop. And so over the next couple of years, we'll be having that discussion as a community, and the dollars are there from MDOT to support that. And so now it will be up to the residents and our elected officials to determine, is this something we really want, and what will be our course of action?
Yeah, that's been so so talked about throughout the years, and it does get confusing
Yes.
when you go into Pontiac. I used to volunteer with an animal group there, Animal Care Network, and it didn't matter how many times I was out, I would always get confused and lost in the neighborhoods of Pontiac, and
It's true.
it's like, come on, I'm like, I know I've been lost here before, um, but with that, I still like the Phoenix Center. It's so unique. It just
Absolutely.
hasn't been utilized in so many years. So it's going to be interesting to see how the entire area changes, not just with the M1 concourse, but United Wholesale Mortgage. They just announced that they're going to use part of their sports complex to
Yes.
allow for a community center. Your thoughts on that?
Well, definitely excited about that. One of the other hot button issues in Pontiac has been youth recreation. And our council and mayor has kind of gone back and forth on what's the best course of action. We have millage dollars available to support that, but currently do not have a facility for youth recreation. And so I'm thrilled that United Wholesale is here in Pontiac, that they're hiring and employing so many people. And this recreation center will be wonderful, this community center. And it's also been announced that it will be free to Pontiac residents. And so we look forward to the opportunity to collaborate with them and make sure that as many residents as possible have the opportunity to recreate there.
So have you been working on that deal at all?
I have not been involved in that deal.
It is, but it is something that really looks like is going to help so many of the kids there in the city of Pontiac. There's been a big effort to clean up the parks. and make them more attractive for some of the kids, but to have that community center to be able to go,
Yes.
and especially in the wintertime, it's a safe place for kids. I think it's really going to mean a lot to the community. Um, Again, we're talking with Dustin McClellan. He's the founder and CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. With that, I have to ask, you guys have so many things going on, so many juggling, so many balls. Anything maybe I didn't ask that you want to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you all. And I'll just say this, uh, we've got elections coming up in Pontiac. And this year, they're really hot button elections and heavily contested at this moment. So civic engagement is on our radar, making sure that Pontiac residents get out and vote, understand the issues and the candidates that are here. And we have the three lowest voter turnout precincts in the state. And
Wow.
so part of our challenge is to make sure that people just get out and vote and are active and exercise their right as citizens to voice themselves through a vote at the ballot box.
And why do you think that is, that it's such lower turnout there in Pontiac?
Yeah, there's so many reasons. We don't have time to get into that, but you know, I think not only transportation, which we've talked about, not only just education on the value of it and the candidates themselves, but in a distressed community like Pontiac, many people feel like their vote doesn't matter. And so we've got to really encourage people that your vote does matter. Here's why, and here are the policies that are affected, and here are the seats that are affected, and here's what happens when you do elect good people that practice good governance. And so that's part of our role as a community organization, community leader, because we know that when we elect the right people and we get good business in town, it improves our tax base. We can have better city services, all of those things that we all hope for in the places that we live, work, and play.
So, Dustin, with the M1 concourse, as well as United Wholesale Mortgage, we know Amazon is moving in as well.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to help turn Pontiac around and attract more businesses to the area?
I think so. I think when you see three major players like the three entities you identified come to a city like Pontiac, it definitely draws attention to other investors and businesses. And so and we are seeing that right now. We're seeing lots of people come into town and prospect and see what opportunities are here. And so we're excited about that. We're excited about these opportunities. We're excited about post-COVID and what that means for investment. We're excited about even post-election season and what that means for investment. So as we often talk, Ronnie, I think Pontiac is primed for success. We're going to continue to do our part and believe that the best is yet ahead for us and for the residents here.
Well, and we need to see Pontiac thrive for it strengthens our entire communities, because while there may be a border, the border doesn't exist for all of us that live in this community. And so the stronger Pontiac is, that makes, Bloomfield stronger, it makes
Yes,
Kegel stronger, West Bloomfield. So thank you again for taking on this challenge. It's a
absolutely.
big challenge, and I think Pontiac has been waiting for someone like you to come in and champion this effort. So Dustin McClellan, he's the founder CEO for the Pontiac Community Foundation. How can people find out more?
Yeah, you can head to our website, pontiaccommunityfoundation.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd love to get you plugged in and get you more information on what we're all about.
And I know that you're still pretty small, but do you take on volunteers or interns at all?
Absolutely. We do take on volunteers and interns. We have a growing team and staff, which we're excited about. And yeah, we welcome everyone.
Wow, that's great to hear. Thank you again for your time, Dustin. We always appreciate it. And best of luck in all the projects that you have underway there in the city of Pontiac.
Thanks so much. Take care.